Guys, today I'm out here riding this 2025 Can-Am Origin, which, based on their website, is a fully electric dual sport. Now guys, I've never ridden this bike before, but after this ride, I should have a much better idea of what this thing's all about. You guys stick around for the end of the video. I'll give it a chase score. I'm Chaseontwowheels. Welcome to a first ride. Silly goose, it's electric. You know what else is electric? Cardos, and they sound way better than this thing. 10% discount code. You knew it was coming. You knew. Alrighty guys, that's what it looks like and that's what it sounds like. Now, it is time to get on this thing. But first, a quick note from our sponsor. So guys, this first ride is actually brought to you by the guys over at Brake Free, which is who make this device. It's a cool little removable device you can just put on the back of your helmet. All you need is one of these little sticky mounts that go on the back of your helmet. They come with the Brake Free when you buy it, but you can attach it on and off of your helmet. And what it does is it's a little device with an accelerometer on the inside and a battery. And this detects when you're slowing down on your motorcycle. When it detects that, it will let the people behind you know that you're slowing down. And the cool thing about that is, obviously, if you're on a motorcycle and you use your brakes, your rear tail light is going to come on. But if you're like me and you use engine braking way more than you should, then your tail light is not gonna come on, and that's gonna make you susceptible to getting ass packed by a car. Don't get ass packed, get a Brake Free. These things are awesome devices. The battery lasts forever and you just charge it with a little USB-C in the bottom. And all you have to do is click it onto the back of your helmet and boom, you're good to go. So let's just say I'm going and I stop. Check that out. This thing's gonna make your slowing down and you as a motorcyclist way more visible. So if you guys are into safety things, which we're on motorcycles, you really should be focused on safety. These things are a must grab, and we got a 10% discount code for you guys. So jump in the description down below, get yourself a 10% discount code and get seen. And remember, don't get ass packed, get a Brake Free. That is not an official Brake Free ad piece, but I thought it was funny. All right, guys, that's it for the sponsorship. Thank you guys so much for watching the sponsor stuff. It really allows us to make this really high quality content for you guys, because without the sponsors, we would not be able to do what we do. So thank you, Brake Free, and thank you guys. Alrighty, guys, we are on the Origin now, and I'm 5'10". I tell you guys every time, I'm 5'10", got a 32-inch inseam. And I didn't know what type of gear to wear with this thing, so I'm ADV from waist up, and I'm street from waist down. So I figured that would work out. But anyway, I've got my SMX 6 boots on, and I can, only because of the seat being so thin, I can flat foot, but I can only barely flat foot. So it's very tight. It is a little taller of a motorcycle, so if you're a little bit short, make sure to come sit on this bike and try it out for yourself. And let's get the bike going, get the key engaged. My God, that screen is almost as big as the screen in my Subaru. That's huge. We have a couple warning things that are going to come up. You just rotate forward, you get past all that. That switch down, rotate forward, hit the drive, it will beep, and we are good to go. So we do have a couple modes here, guys. We can hit this button and it will drop the modes over here, and we can use this button to toggle. We have normal, sport, off-road, off-road plus, and the thing you did not see was eco and rain. I will tell you guys, when we were doing the first ride camera car, I put it in eco and it is incredibly slow. So we're just going to start in rain mode to be easy on us. And we will talk through and progress through the modes throughout the video. I will not be going into off-road or off-road plus. Most of what that's going to do is be changing traction control and stuff like that. So with all that being said, guys, I am going to get this thing going silently. Alrighty, guys. Also, if you guys are big fans of the channel, you don't want to miss any content. YouTube does an okay job of letting y'all know when we go live with videos, but a better way to know when we go live is join our email newsletter. I only email you guys once a week, and I just let you know what's going on around the channel. And with all that being said, we're going to go. Links down below. Wow, rain mode has so much better power. Yes. Rain mode is so much better than eco mode. Holy crap. So guys, the interesting thing about this, one, it's a Can-Am vehicle with only 2 wheels. If you guys aren't familiar, Can-Am has a giant lineup of 3-wheeled vehicles. They, I'm pretty sure the first 2 Can-Am vehicles that are electric are this and the Pulse, which is pretty interesting. We got another motorcycle buddy on our side. What are you riding? S1000R. All right, cool. But yeah, this is, I believe, one of the 2 Can-Am vehicles that has 2 wheels, which is super interesting. So I'm super fascinated to find out how good of a job Can-Am does getting into the motorcycle game. And guys, at this point in the video, let's talk about body position right now. I got really comfortable legs, and even though the seat is really thin, Can-Am has got a great amount of foam in this seat. My butt's hanging off the side a little bit, but overall, super comfortable. And then my top half is very upright. My arms are kind of draped down some. Overall, I think this is a super comfortable body position. I really like it a lot. I was worried when I saw this bike. I was like, bro, that seat is going to be very uncomfortable. So I am very happy to see how smushy it is. So good job, Can-Am, on that. So we're done with the pretty powerful rain mode now. Here's one of the cool things that I really appreciate about this bike. If you rotate forward, you actually engage the battery recovery on the motorcycle, which I think is really cool. So if you guys aren't familiar, if you've never ridden like a Zero motorcycle, basically on those bikes, when you let off the throttle, it goes into battery regen, and sometimes you can dictate how much battery regen there is, but that's about it. You set it in the settings. But for here, you almost have an inverse throttle. So the more you rotate forward, the more battery regen you're going to get, and you can use it to slow the bike down and charge the battery, which is kind of cool. Before that light turns green, and it just did, we're going to hit normal mode. We are in normal mode, and now we can get going. Can't really tell a huge difference off the rip between normal mode and rain mode. So guys, let's talk about the power on this thing. We are obviously on a fully electric bike, as you guys can hear, and we are looking at power numbers of 47 horsepower and 52 foot-pounds of torque. So I was honestly kind of surprised, because normally the torque number specifically is a lot higher on electric bikes. Now, as far as range goes, the bike, apparently, this is via their website, this is not via testing, but via their website, this has a city range of 90 miles and then a sustained highway range at 80 miles an hour. By the way, the motorcycle is capped out at 80 miles an hour, but it supposedly has a sustained highway 80 of 52 miles of range. So the power numbers, the range numbers are a little low, but the pro to having that is, and you guys can probably tell this from the camera car footage, this is a very thin motorcycle, and for this style motorcycle, like an electric bike, it actually only weighs, I think, 412 pounds. So it's relatively light compared to other bikes. Like, you know, basically, normally electric bikes are a lot heavier than regular bikes. That's battery technology right now. That is what it is. So you get a lighter electric motorcycle, but you get that at the downfall of having range. So while we're cruising around the city, let's talk about the city performance on the Origin. So I will note that we have, I don't know what type of tires we have on this bike, but they are very knobby. So it's more, it's very much a dual sport tire. So the tires aren't going to be our best friend on the street. Like, they're okay. I haven't had any issues, but they're very low profile and got knobs on them. So my traction's not going to be as great as it otherwise would be. I just wanted to make that note. So as far as city performance on the Origin, I've liked it a lot. And the thing I like about it a lot is that I get all the pros of having an electric motorcycle, minus a little torque that I kind of do miss. But the power is delivered in a very controllable way, which is kind of surprising for an electric bike. Dude, a lot of these electric bikes, they've got a handful of torque, and they give that shit to you off the rip. Can-Am's done a very good job of making this bike a very controllable motorcycle. That being said, I have not ridden it in sport mode, so maybe that will change. And actually, I've been wondering, so I know that the vehicle is capped out at 80 miles an hour, but we got a 40 to 80 mile per hour test to do, so I don't know what's going to happen there, so stay tuned, we'll find out. But yeah, the leg position ends up being in a really good spot for getting your legs down on the ground. And I've talked about this in other videos, but electric bikes are the best convenient factor for city riding. They get their best range while in the city, and they're just very simple. There's no clutch, there's no shifter or anything like that. All right, let's go and give it some throttle. Yeah, you can have fun in normal mode, man. Absolutely. It's not going to rip your face off like a lot of electric bikes, but it is definitely enough to have a good time and be faster than literally any of the cars out here. And it would outrun a very good amount of motorcycles as well, at least up to, you know, maybe 30 or 40. But yeah, in the city, this thing's fantastic, man. I'm high up. I've got like very easy head checking. I'm really surprised. I looked at the mirrors. The mirrors kind of look tiny just looking at the bike, but they actually work really well. I'm able to get them in a very good spot for me. And I like this thing a lot on the city. I would, if I was going to buy this motorcycle and I didn't plan on doing any off-road with it, I would definitely get some different tires, some street-focused tires. And I think that would give me a little more confidence in the tire because I am lacking a little bit of that. But that's really a tire thing, not a motorcycle thing. As far as like moving that 412 pounds around, I think it does a really good job. Like, I have no problem just slinging it in a direction. The bike tracks really quickly and easily. God, it is so freaking windy today. Holy crap, this highway is about to suck. But yeah, guys, overall, I'm really liking this thing for the city. Let's get in that left lane before the traffic stops us. So this is what I mean, guys. I'm slowing down and I can rotate forward. And since we're kind of stuck in traffic, we can talk about it. I was curious when I was riding this bike around. When I rotate the handlebar forward, I was like, I wonder if that initiates the brake, because if that doesn't initiate the brake and it slows me down as much as it is, that would be very dangerous. Cars could run into you, of course, unless you had a brake free on your helmet, which I do highly recommend them. I know they're a sponsor of the video, blah, 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 but having that visibility high up on your helmet is super helpful for cars to see a lot better. I notice cars behind me stay a little farther back when I've got my brake free on, so I do like those. But I was worried about that with this motorcycle. I was like, man, if I'm using that forward throttle to engine brake down or engine brake feel down, that would get me worried. But Patrick and I did do a test. I rolled forward and I did full brake with forward rotation, and the brake light does come on. So that was really nice to see. You know what? We're stopped here. Let's put this thing in sport mode. All right, now I'm in uncharted territory now, guys. I have not tried this thing in sport mode. This should be interesting. And we do have 39 miles of range left. So our math tells us that that will make me get back to the dealership. I really hope I didn't cross an O or not carry a 0, because today's going to be a lot more interesting if I didn't do that. Okay, considerable power difference in sport mode. Jesus. I like it, but I was kind of worried because that rain mode to normal mode didn't make that big of a change. Alrighty, guys, we got to find out how fast a 2025 Can-Am Origin goes from 40 miles an hour to 80 miles an hour. But remember, it's capped out at 80, so I do not know what's about to happen. At least I don't have to worry about what gear I'm in. Yeah, this is gonna be strange. I'm fascinated to find out what's about to happen here. Hopefully our lane doesn't get blocked like it did last time. A freaking emergency lane just went away for us. Alrighty, guys, I'm gonna give this a second so those cars can get ahead so we can have that emergency lane, and then I'm gonna go from 40 to 80. Let's find out how fast it is. On your marks, get set, go. All right, we're getting up there. We're getting up there. Oh no, it won't go to 80. Oh no. Okay, all right, we're pulling it. We're pulling it. We're doing we're throwing an audible this time, guys. We're gonna call it whenever we got to 79. That was the 40 to 80 pull. Okay, I know it's a technicality. I'm going to act as the referee, and I'm going to say when it got to 79, actually, okay, my editing team, let's go a click past when it turned 79. That is our 40 to 80 pull, and what is the official time? Boom, there it is. Alrighty guys, so that's our 40 to 80 on the Can-Am Origin. There you go. Alright, so we're here on the highway, going the max speed that I possibly can. As you guys can see, full throttle. I am not going any faster, so you can clearly see it's capped out. Overall, the power's okay here on the highway, but at least here in America, guys, if you can only go 80, you're gonna get passed hardcore on the highway, so I don't really love that. And we don't have cruise control, which I also don't really love, which I'm pretty sure there's luggage compartment little attachment points on the back. So hypothetically, Can-Am wants you to be able to tour on this, but with no cruise control, I'm definitely not doing that. Now, I will say here on the highway, it's a little bit windy. I am getting kind of blown around. Wow, that was a hard gust to the right. I am getting blown around. The bike is kind of doing a lot of moving, so that's going to be the negative of that 412 weight. The bike just doesn't have enough mass to really like help the elements and help fight the elements. As far as wind goes here on the highway, I'm getting wind about right in my visor. I'm actually surprised that that screen is doing as much as it is, so that's not too bad. Stability's kind of meh on the highway. Like I told you guys earlier, those tires are very thin, and I am getting a little bit of wiggling here on the highway randomly. Like the bike will just go into a wiggle. It kind of gives me the same feeling that I would get on my WR250 when I would try to take it on the highway. Overall, it's not doing a bad job, but wow, that wind literally just pushed me into this lane. I just let the wind push me over. I wouldn't recommend this for long highway stints. You're gonna destroy your battery anyway if you did that, so I don't think anybody getting this is going to come to the highway that often. But if you have to commute on the highway to work or something like that, it'll do it just fine. Just know you don't have cruise control and you don't have any speed over 80. Scrubbing speed off and getting the bike leaned over. The bike does, I can feel the tire limitations, man. That is strange. I do not feel comfortable leaning this bike over any more than it's currently being leant over. There's just not a lot of confidence on the edge of that tire. I do not like that. Okay. The edge of that tire feels so strange, man. I don't like that at all. Ooh, I like that. So the brakes, we have Chaseontwowheels brakes in the front, and if you mix those with the forward rotation of the throttle, you actually get some pretty phenomenal braking. That's pretty interesting. And by using the rotation forward on the throttle, you're going to be activating the rear brakes because that's what's connected to the engine. So you're getting a very stable braking platform because you're using all the brakes on the motorcycle. That's actually really cool. I like that a lot. So guys, suspension wise, let's talk about that. Suspension's been feeling really good. We've got a KYB in the front and the rear on this motorcycle, and the front is unadjustable. It's not adjustable on the front, and I believe it's preload adjustable in the rear, which is fine. It's not feeling bad on the highway. It's actually really comfortable, but for a bike that's a dual sport that you're going to be doing off-road and on-road ideally, I would really like to see adjustable suspension, especially for a bike that's coming in at like, what, 15 grand or something like that? It's a lot of money to be spending to not get fully adjustable suspension, so that's kind of a letdown, to be honest. I'm going to get in this left lane. Man, sport mode is the only mode on this motorcycle that gives you the feel of the electric bike that you want. If you've ridden other electric bikes, you know that feeling of like the bike really sending you forward. Sport mode's the only mode that really gives that to you, and even then it's pretty tame. So for an electric bike, just overall pretty surprised at how tame this thing is. That could be that I'm just used to, most of these electric bikes are just nuts, man. They are so fast, and they're way faster than they need to be honest. Like there's no reason for the electric bike to be that fast, but it just, you know, they let it be because it can be, because that electric powertrain. So I'm just gonna feel on the brakes. Make sure no cars are behind me. So the brakes take a little time to really get bit in, and I'm just not getting a ton of brake force with a decent amount of squeeze. I'll try that more later, but right now and that's not the Chaseontw part of it. I've tried Chaseontw brakes before, and some of them have been good. These are just, they're not getting me stopped like I want to be stopped, unfortunately. I will note that the power does die off around the 50 mile per hour mark, even in sport mode. I can notice there's a lack of torque pulling me along as compared to lower down. That's not terribly surprising, but I do wish the power kind of held on a little longer than that. Let's lay on the brakes a little harder up here and see if they can give us something a little better if we give them a really strong pull. Wow, no. Okay. So, yeah, not a super big fan of the brakes. I don't know what style Chaseontw brakes these are, but you're not going to get a very strong brake feel. So that thing I was talking about where you need to brake and you need to do battery regen at the same time, if you do that, you can come to a stop pretty quick. But if you use just the brakes, you're going to be left wanting for sure. All right, guys, so let's talk about the controls up here and this giant freaking dash. So first off, let's go to the right side because it's easy. We got a pretty easy setup over here. Plastic buttons, pretty simple setup. No real issues there. I do appreciate that the one lever is adjustable, so nice job on that. Now, on the left side, we got a lot of stuff going on. Most of that is because this bike does have wireless Apple CarPlay, or Apple CarPlay, I'm pretty sure it's wireless. So there's a lot of stuff to control over here. I will say, going through the menus, it's not super user-friendly. The thing I will say that I do appreciate is the mode button is very easy. It's just this press. And then if you press it again, it'll cycle through the modes, the traction control level, the regen, and the throttling. All of that is controlled on this tiny little menu over here. Oh, by the way, the whole thing is touchscreen. This stuff over here. So that's kind of cool. I do appreciate the quick use of that. The other buttons, when you start getting into like all this other stuff, it's pressing buttons, and some buttons bring that up, and then you hit this button, but now it comes up over here. And if I hit this button again and hit it again, it just, like, I don't know. I think this could be a lot more user-friendly than it currently is, but that could be because I'm just brand new to this whole interface, so that's the thing. We got volume up and down for your music, if you have that controlled and all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot going on here, so if you do end up buying this motorcycle, just give yourself some time to figure all this out. And then let's touch on this giant, like, what is it, 10-inch screen. Very nice screen, very nice quality. I like the matte material. It helps with reflections, even though in some positions the screen is a little harder to see. Luckily, we have an overcast day today, so it's helping the screen out a lot. Overall, though, I think the quality of the screen's pretty solid. The only thing I don't like about the screen that I think is an oversight, so now that the blinker's on, do you guys see that it's the right blinker's on? You can't because this wire is blocking it. It's actually right there, and it's right behind all of the wires. So I feel like that was a bit of an undersight. I think Can-Am shouldn't have put that right where the brake line is going to be. But that's really, so far, the user interface and the blinker is the only weirdness that I'm noticing. I do like that this little bar tells me how much I'm regenning, and I think the information is laid out pretty well. You know, you're telling me what mode I'm in right here, which is great. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I don't really care that it's touchscreen. I think it's cool. But, I mean, it's a motorcycle. I'm not really going to be using my touchscreen. You know what I'm saying? I would much rather just, you know, not. So, yeah, you can touchscreen it all. It's neat. It's cool. I think it's kind of a gimmicky thing. You know, as a motorcycle rider, you got a lot of stuff going on. The last thing you need to be doing is worry about your touchscreen. I do feel like your range needs to be a little bigger of a number. It is an electric-only motorcycle. That range is incredibly important, and it's just not big enough to really focus all your attention on. Oh, electric bikes, you are fun. All right, guys, that was a very quick run through of this motorcycle. And now I think I've been on it long enough to where I can give it a chase score. So let's see how it plays out.
All right, guys, so it's time for the chase score on the 2025 Can-Am Origin. For throttle response, I'm going to give it a 6. It's smooth and comfortable with some zip if you put it in sport mode, but it's a little tamer than I think a lot of people are going to expect for an electric bike. For agility, I'm also going to give it a 6. That lightweight feel helps, but highway stability and tire confidence are a little sketchy at lean. Now I gotta give it a hit on the brakes, and I'm gonna give it a 4 there. The brakes just have a really weak bite if you're not using that regen assist. You have to combine that forward throttle rotation just to get some decent stopping power. For acceleration, I'm gonna give it a 5. Now, it's quick at city speeds, but it falls off above 50 miles an hour, and being capped at 80 miles an hour kills the highway confidence. For suspension, I'm gonna give it a 6. It's comfortable for street and, light ADV use, but unadjustable front forks on a $15,000 dual sport, that's rough. For the comfort on this bike, I'm gonna give it a 6. It's got a surprisingly decent seat and upright seating position, but the wind buffeting and those sketchy tires really limit that longer ride comfort that it otherwise could have. Now for tech, I'm gonna give it a 7 on this bike. The screen looks great, and I really like that unique regen control by rotating the throttle forward, but the UI is a bit clunky and the touch screen is borderline gimmicky. For ease of use, I'm gonna give it a 6. It's got no clutch, it's got no gears, and an adjustable regen make it all really approachable, but the screen navigation just isn't as intuitive as I wish it was. Now for versatility, I can't really give it more than a 5. It was good in city and some light ADV work, but poor highway performance and that limited range are really holding this thing back. Now for fun for the money, I can't really give the bike higher than a 3. At nearly 15 grand, it feels overpriced given that lack of speed, range, and the adjustable hardware. So guys, that's gonna mean for the ride section, this bike is getting a 27, and for the usability, it's gonna get a score of 27 as well, for a total of a 54 chase score.
And there you have it, my friends, the chase score for the Can-Am Origin. Obviously, if you guys disagree with my chase score, please let me know in the comments down below. So guys, what I'm taking away from this first ride is Can-Am is coming out of the gate with a very interesting vehicle here. I think it's really neat, but I cannot see myself buying this thing right now. The things that I really love about this thing is the screen, super nice, and the way they are having the engine regen be a metric that you can dictate with the throttle by going forward. I love that throttle back to go fast and throttle forward to slow it down. That is really neat, and I feel like should be the standard for all electric motorcycles. But for a starting price of like 14 something, like 15 grand, I'm just not seeing enough motorcycle here. But maybe I'm not seeing its true value. Maybe it's the off-road vibe of it all and how thin it is. Maybe that's the crowd that really belongs on this thing. I think Can-Am's on to something, and I like what they're doing, but I kind of want them to keep, I want to see a couple more iterations of this before I think it's like a,
oh man, you guys got to grab this thing.
I think this is a solid job, but I think they got a little ways to go. And guys, that's going to be it for my Can-Am Origin first ride. Before we end the video, big shout out to Mountain Motorsports for letting us loan this bike out for the day. If you guys want to check them out, they're a huge dealership here in North Georgia, and they have tons of locations, tons of bikes. A great place to go to check out multiple bikes and sit on a lot of them and get a feel for what bike fits you. If you guys want to check them out, we'll have a bike provided by link in the description down below. And guys, before we wrap it up, make sure to comment on this video and share it out to somebody that you think would enjoy this bike. I'm Chaseontwowheels. If you guys want to watch more first rides that I've done, I'll have a first ride playlist link in the description down below. And with all that said, you guys go out there and ride safe. I'll see you in the next one. Later.